What's going on, y'all? It is Cop Pizzle. The 2024 schedule has arrived. It's come right out of the oven, and it's time to consume it, to talk about it, to give you guys my thoughts about it. If you didn't catch it last night, I was on Game Time Brian's stream. We had a great discussion. Game Time Brian is a Cowboys fan. We had a great discussion about football, the Giants, and the NFC East in general. If you missed it, please head on over to his channel. Check it out. Those that was there last night, support Pizzle. I really, really do appreciate it. But let's get into the schedule, okay? Week 1, home game, regular 1 p.m. start time against the Minnesota Vikings. I like, look, all these games, this schedule can drastically change. NFL is a week-to-week thing. Things can change every week. Some games are going to look easier now than they will during the season. So these are all, of course, you're going to be optimistic about things. But I like the fact that the Giants are just a regular start against a Vikings team who seems to be in a transition, maybe a rebuild process. And for those that wanted the Giants to get a new quarterback, that potential new quarterback is on the opposing, potentially going to be starting for the opposing team. So it's interesting to see how that works out. I like the fact that this Giants defense, a young Giants defense, is going to be potentially starting their season against 2 rookie quarterbacks, because the second week we go on the road to go against the Commanders, and you got to think that maybe Jaden Daniels will be starting for them. So potentially the Giants have a chance to start a home and away game against potentially 2 rookie quarterbacks. And, I think this is a great chance for our defense to build some confidence, to play well. I don't think the first 2 games are tough matchups for our offense. So I like these first 2 games. Obviously, the Giants have had success against the Commanders. We've had success against the Vikings recently, obviously beating them in the playoffs in 2022 and the 2022 season. So I like that. I like the matchup at home against the Vikings week 1, and I like the week 2 matchup against the Commanders. Week 3 with a back-to-back, after a back-to-back road game, going to the Commanders. We then go to the Browns on a 1 p.m. start time. That will be interesting. Out of conference, on the road, in a place in Cleveland that we don't really play at a lot. Weather, I think, will probably be relatively good. I know Cleveland has its times where it's, the weather can be bad, but it'll still be September, so I don't think that'll be too bad for us. It will be interesting to see how we handle going to a place that we're not really familiar with. Cleveland has a chance to be a good football team. They've been kind of hit or miss the last couple of years, obviously with the health of Deshaun Watson. But that will be an interesting. That game, to me, potentially could spell a little trouble, only because it's a sandwich spot between 2 NFC East rivals. You're playing the Commanders week 2, then you go on the road to play Cleveland, but in week 4 on a Thursday night in prime time, you're at home against the Dallas Cowboys. So that Cleveland game week 3 could have its challenges because of the fact that it's in a sandwich spot. But yeah, week 4, I like the fact that we get a little bit of an advantage on the Cowboys and the fact that they have to come to us. Look, the Cowboys have had our number the last several years, really over the last decade. And so being able to play them at home on a short week, that's an advantage to the Giants. Hopefully we're healthy, and it's going to be on prime time, and it's the chance that it's another opportunity early in the season, like last year, to showcase to the world that we can beat the Dallas Cowboys, that we can do it. We can take ownership potentially of this division if we're talented enough. So I like the fact that we get the Cowboys on a Thursday night at home. Now that's going to come back against us later in the season. We'll get to it in a minute, but I like that. So then week 5, we're going on the road, late afternoon start time against the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle could be anything. I mean, they could be good, they could be bad. I don't really know what to make of Seattle just yet. I think they have a chance to be somewhat decent, but That will be interesting. We'll have a little bit of extra rest because of the Thursday night game, so that could play into our advantage there. But we're going to go on the road and travel across the country against Seattle. Week 6, we're at home against the Bengals on Sunday Night Football. Now here's another primetime game. Obviously we had that Cowboys game week 4 on primetime. Then we're going to be on primetime week 6 against the Bengals. Interested to see what Joe Burrow's health will be, the status of the Bengals. The Bengals are they're going to be a little bit different this year. Not saying that they won't be as good as they've been when he's been healthy, but it'll be interesting to see what the Bengals are. But we get a Sunday night game. I always like the primetime games, so that will be an interesting one. And obviously, it's an out of conference place for Cincinnati to come to a place where I know they play the Jets there, but they don't really play the Giants there a lot. So it'll be interesting to see how. I feel like that's an advantage to the Giants, but that's interesting. Then week 7, we're at home against the Eagles, so no primetime game against the Eagles there, just your regular afternoon game, which I actually think that will work in favor of the Giants. We haven't had a lot of success against the Eagles, and a lot of the games that we've played the Eagles, they've been, in key primetime spots or, when a lot of eyes are on the game, and this is just a regular afternoon game, so I don't know if that'll take a little bit of pressure off, but, week 7, we get the Eagles. We'll see how that goes. I'm optimistic. I like the fact that we get them at home first go around, but I'm a little bit disappointed in the second time we play the Eagles, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. But week 8, we go on the road in another primetime spot to play on Monday Night Football against the Steelers. And here's another situation almost like the Browns in week 3, where we play a Steelers team in a sandwich spot between two NFC East rivals, the Eagles and then the Commanders. So that Steelers game, here again, we're going to a place in Pittsburgh that we don't play a lot, out of conference, on the road, Monday Night Football. There's going to be some obstacles that the Giants are going to have to overcome, but it's fun to see. I always love watching the Giants on Monday Night Football. I always have when I was a kid. So, this Steelers team, be honest, they're going to be boom or bust this year, I feel like. I think they have a chance to be really good, or they could be really bad. It could go either way. But Monday Night Football, that's cool. First 2 months of the season, the Giants are, you're getting some primetime games there, right? So that's kind of interesting to me. Then week 9, as I mentioned, at home against the Commanders. So it's a little bit, that Steelers game is a sandwich spot against the Eagles and the Commanders. So, I like, we'll be done with the Commanders basically the first 2 months of the season. Hopefully we'll continue to have the success with them going against them. And so, Jaden Daniels, if he's their starting quarterback, maybe it takes him a half a season to get going. So that's probably an advantage, the fact that the Giants get to play him early. Week 10, we go all the way to Germany and play the Carolina Panthers. Who knows what the Panthers will be this year? But, that's kind of a cool thing. It's not a primetime game. Obviously, it's an early morning game, but a game that will be the isolated game that will be going on at that moment. So, you look at the Giants' schedule, it's almost like every other game from the Cowboys, Bengals, Steelers, Panthers. There's a lot of games there where they're going to be the only game going on in town. They're going to be the league is these first 10 weeks, the league has put the Giants on notice that we're going to showcase you guys. So either you're going to be good, and everyone's going to have a good opinion of you, or you're going to be bad and people are going to have a bad opinion. So first 10 weeks of the season, the Giants are being showcased a lot to the national public. Week 11, we go on a bye. I love that. I love having that bye kind of like in the middle, somewhat to the late. So I love the Week 11 bye. Then we come right back home against the Bucs. We'll have a big time advantage because of the bye, because we get to stay at home. So I like that matchup. And then Week 13 on Thanksgiving, of course, you can't have just family time. You got to get all excited about playing the Cowboys. We'll go on a short week on that Thursday and play the Dallas Cowboys on the road. So the advantage that we gained Week 4, they will have that advantage Week 13, which I think it's fair. So, you don't ever really see this a lot where two teams play each other on Thursdays twice in a season. And in this case, we will be doing that with the Cowboys. So we won't be playing the Cowboys on Sunday unless we see them in the playoffs. Every time we play them, it will be on a Thursday. So hopefully they're good Thursdays against the Cowboys. But I find that to be interesting, that whatever advantage we gained, early in the year, they're going to get that right back in Week 13, and hopefully that will be a good Thanksgiving for us. I'm optimistic. We'll see. Then we get 2 home games in a row against the New Orleans Saints and the Baltimore Ravens. That Saints game, we're going to be coming off a little bit of a rest because of playing that Thursday Thanksgiving. So we'll have a little bit. We'll have some time to rest going into the Saints game, and then that following week we'll be at home again, playing a Ravens team that could be probably pretty good team. But you see there where the Giants could spend 17 days at home there, so that's positive for them. I think that'll be very helpful late in the season. And plus, we need as many home games as we can late in the year if we're rallying for a playoff spot, because that can be an advantage to us. Week 16, we go on the road, another 1 p.m. start time against the Atlanta Falcons. We'll see what the Falcons end up being this season. We'll see how they do. I think they've got a potential to be boom or bust. But that's a Falcons game. I don't think that's too tough of a road spot for the Giants late in the year. Obviously, they're indoors, so we won't have to worry about weather. So I like that. Then we'll be Week 17 at home against the Colts. We've had that matchup similar in the last few years. A couple years ago, we had it when we went going into the playoffs. We'll see what this Colts team is, but I like that matchup to get them out of conference, coming to a place that they don't play a lot at. So I like that matchup a lot late in the year. And then Week 18, we're going to go on the road against the Eagles. Start time still to be determined. Look, I hate that because, if the Giants or Eagles, either one of them are good or either one of them is bad, it's like it takes a little bit of the meaning out of that game. I want that game to have meaning. I want the rivalry to be what it is. And, with it being Week 18, I feel like there's some luster taken out of it if one of the teams have already clinched, or, if it's meaningless where maybe both teams doesn't have a good season, or maybe neither one of them's playing for anything. Or maybe they're playing for the division. Who knows? Who knows what could happen? But I hate the fact that game doesn't have it has the potential to not have the same feeling because it's Week 18. But anyways, that's the schedule. I'm optimistic, guys. Just looking at it again, that first 10 games, right? A lot of primetime spots, a lot of showcase spots, whereas late in the year, outside the Thanksgiving game, you're looking at a lot of 1 p.m. start times. We'll see how that works. The Germany game's interesting. We get 1 Monday night football game. We've got at least just 1 Sunday night football game guaranteed. We got a couple Thursday night game, or one Thursday night game and a Thursday afternoon game. I think the home away, there's a couple, we have the issue, we have that early back-to-back road games, but then we also get the back-to-back home games late in the season too. So, there's some pros and some cons, but I think it really balances itself out. I think it's a good schedule. I like the fact that the bye falls on the Week 11. So, I don't hate this schedule, guys. I'm optimistic about it. We'll see how she goes. Not a lot of late afternoon start times, but there is a couple in there. And so, yeah, first 10 weeks, the public, when we get to our bye week, Week 11, the public is going to have an opinion about the Giants because we're going to be on a lot. So, anyways, that is the 2024 schedule. Also, little bonus here. As you saw today, Hard Knocks offseason. First time that they've ever done a Hard Knocks offseason will feature the New York Football Giants. I will be doing episode reactions to those every time they come. I'm a huge fan of Hard Knocks. I love the fact that the Giants are being featured in this capacity. So I definitely will be doing reaction videos to those episodes. Can't wait to see how that works out. So there's even more content that I'm going to be making this year. Super excited. Got to start getting my content ready to put out there. And yeah, man. Summer will be over in just a minute. We'll be right in the middle of football season. So we'll see you guys soon. Go Big Blue.